Ever have one of those perfect evenings just crash and burn because of someone else's unbridled enthusiasm? Yeah, me too. Buckle up, buttercups, because Giulia's back with a tale from an Italian trattoria in San Francisco that proves sometimes the drama is spicier than the arrabbiata. So picture this, I'm at my favorite cozy Italian place, La Bella Vita, a little spot known for its incredible handmade pasta and the warmth of its owner, Marie. I'm just enjoying my own meal, minding my business, when a lovely couple walks in. Marco and Sophia, as I later learned. They'd been married about 6 years, and though their actual honeymoon was long past, they were on this amazing anniversary trip through California, treating it like a second honeymoon. You could tell they were just so smitten, still giggling like teenagers. Marco, fluent in Italian, caught the eye of a server and with a knowing wink, asked him to tell Marie that some old friends were in. A few minutes later, Marie, a woman with a smile that could light up the Golden Gate Bridge, came out from the kitchen, beaming. She greeted Marco and Sophia like long-lost family, enveloping them in a warm, rapid-fire Italian conversation. It was just a beautiful, authentic scene. Everything was going swimmingly until Marco excused himself to use the restroom. As he was walking back to his table, passing by another, a loud, imperious voice cut through the soft buzz of the restaurant. "Excuse me, hello, can I get some service over here?" Marco, mid-stride, glanced over. The voice belonged to a woman, probably in her late 50s, with a severe haircut and an even more severe expression. She was glaring directly at him. Being a polite soul, Marco paused. "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't actually work here. I'm just a customer, and I'm actually in a bit of a hurry to get back to my wife." Her eyes narrowed. "Don't work here? Don't be ridiculous. You're wearing a dark shirt, you're walking around. Of course you work here. Now are you going to take our order or not?" Her friends at the table shifted uncomfortably, but she just barreled on. Marco just shook his head, offering a tight, polite smile. "No, really, I do. But I can point out a server for you." He quickly flagged down a passing server, quietly explaining, "Hey, that table there needs some help," before making his swift escape back to Sophia, probably eager to share the absurd encounter. A few minutes later, Marie, ever the attentive owner, was doing her rounds, checking on tables. When she approached the lady's table, she asked, "Everything all right here? How's the service?" That's when the floodgates opened. The lady launched into a tirade. "Service, it's atrocious. We've been waiting forever. And that man, that rude, incompetent man, he walked right past us and refused to help." She jabbed a finger dramatically across the room, straight at Marco, who was now mid-giggle with Sophia. Marie followed the finger, then smiled softly. "Oh, ma'am, I assure you that gentleman doesn't work here. That's Marco. He's a dear friend of mine, just enjoying dinner with his wife." The lady scoffed, a truly magnificent, theatrical scoff. "Don't try to cover for him. He's clearly an employee. He even told me he was in a hurry, so he couldn't take our order. The nerve." Her voice was rising, drawing more attention. Her friends started looking mortified, whispering things like, "Mildred, calm down, and it's fine, just drop it." But Mildred, bless her heart, wasn't dropping anything. She was just getting warmed up. "This is ridiculous. I've never been treated this way. I want to speak to your manager." Oh, the irony, speaking to the owner. "You people are incompetent." "I'm leaving." She made a grand show of gathering her purse. Her friends, now fully cringing, started to try and physically guide her out. "Come on, Mildred, let's just go. It's not worth it." But Mildred, in her rage, did something truly bizarre. As her friends tried to usher her towards the door, her eyes scanned the room, looking for another target, another injustice, and that's when she spotted me. I admit, I'd been watching the whole spectacle with a mixture of horror and morbid fascination, maybe even a little chuckle escaping my lips when she scoffed at Marie. Mildred's eyes locked onto mine. She pointed a trembling, accusatory finger at me, the innocent bystander, and screamed, "And you, what are you looking at? You with your fat chest, you're just as bad as all of them." My jaw just dropped. I looked at Marco and Sophia, who were now openly staring, wide-eyed. Marco, bless him, actually started laughing, a deep, hearty laugh, before leaning over to Sophia and me, his eyes twinkling. "She's really going for it, isn't she? Insulting your bounty." I couldn't help but burst into laughter too, the sheer absurdity of it all. Who, in their right mind, uses fat chest as an insult in an Italian restaurant? Mildred's friends finally managed to yank her out of the restaurant, still muttering about how Marco definitely worked there. her voice fading as they disappeared onto the street. Marie just shook her head, a sigh escaping her lips, then came over to apologize profusely to Marco, Sophia, and me. Marco just waved it off, still chuckling. He and Sophia finished their anniversary dinner with a story they'd definitely be telling for years. As for me, I finished my pasta, paid my bill, and walked out feeling like I'd just witnessed a one-act play. A tale of love, commitment, and a completely unhinged Karen who managed to make everyone's evening just a little bit more memorable. Until next time, ciao. You've survived 2 Reddit roller coasters. Might as well subscribe before the third wrecks you emotionally.
You ever answer the phone and just know it's going to be a bad day? That's exactly how I felt the moment I picked up that call. I'm Julian, and at the time I was managing a Chuck E. Cheese? No, not the amusement park with roller coasters and stuff, but the pizza restaurant with animatronics and arcade games. Big difference, apparently, but not to the woman on the other end of the line. She launched straight into it, a torrent of indignant rage before I even had a chance to say hello. I demand to speak to a manager. You people ruined my family's day and I want a full refund plus an additional $50 for my trouble, she shrieked, her voice so sharp it practically cut through the phone line. I took a deep breath, trying to inject some calm into the chaos. Ma'am, you've reached Chuck E. Cheese Pizzeria. It sounds like you might be looking for the Chuck E. Cheese amusement park. We're a separate entity and I don't believe we can help you with a refund for a park visit. I was trying to be helpful, you know, just a simple mistake. That's when she really went off the rails. Don't you dare lie to me. I know who you are. Get your manager on the phone right now. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Ma'am, I am the manager on duty here, Julian. Big mistake. The floodgates opened. She started screaming, actual ear-splitting screams, demanding her money, accusing me of trying to swindle her and interrupting every single word I tried to get in edgewise. I couldn't even grasp why she was so angry. It was just a whirlwind of profanity and accusations. She kept talking about a terrible day at your park and the rip-off prices, and I just kept repeating, "Ma'am, this is the restaurant. We don't have a park. You have the wrong number." It was like talking to a brick wall made of pure, unadulterated fury. Then the threats started. "I know where you are. I'm coming down there and you're going to regret this. You hear me?" My heart started pounding a bit harder. This wasn't just a cranky customer anymore. I tried to de-escalate. "Ma'am, if you don't calm down, I'm going to have to hang up." Click. I did it. 5 seconds of blessed silence. Then my phone rang again, the number flashing the same caller ID. I answered, hoping she'd had a moment to think. Nope. She was back, even louder, even more abusive, hurling insults and curses like they were going out of style. It was exhausting, infuriating, and honestly, a little bit terrifying. My patience evaporated. "Ma'am," I said, my voice as firm as I could make it, "if you continue to make threats and use this language, I'm going to call the police." There was a beat of silence, and I actually thought I'd gotten through. Then came her chilling reply, laced with a venom that made my blood run cold. "You call them. My husband and my brother are on their way there right now to take care of you for me." That was it. I didn't waste another second. I hung up the phone and immediately called the non-emergency line, explaining the situation to the dispatcher. This wasn't just an "I don't work here lady" moment. This was a lady-threatening assault moment. Sure enough, about 15 minutes later, a car pulled into our parking lot, screeching to a halt. Out stepped the woman, red-faced and still absolutely livid, flanked by 2 burly guys who looked like they'd just rolled out of a bad biker movie. 2 patrol cars were already waiting discreetly in the back, and as the woman started stomping towards the entrance, yelling for Julian, the officers moved in. It was chaotic. She was still screaming, demanding to know where I was. The police were trying to de-escalate, but she was beyond reasoning. Things escalated quickly. They ended up arresting her for making threats and disturbing the peace. And then, in a twist straight out of a movie, when they ran the IDs of her backup, her husband and brother, turns out they both had outstanding warrants. Oh, and the brother was packing an illegally possessed firearm. So they all went to jail. I don't know what was going on in that woman's head that day, but it definitely wasn't connected to reality. I'm just incredibly grateful the police took it seriously and that I didn't have to deal with her little entourage on my own. It just goes to show sometimes people really are just unhinged, and sometimes those people bring their armed, wanted relatives with them. Wildest day I ever had at Chuck E. Cheese, that's for sure.
Some customers just live rent-free in your head, don't they? Even after you've ditched the soul-crushing uniform and moved on with your life, their petty antics and entitled demands cling to the corners of your memory like stale grease. For me, that customer was Karen. I used to sling burritos at a fast casual joint, think Chipotle, but with even less grace. It was a conveyor belt of chaos, a constant battle against dropped salsa and overflowing trash bins. But Karen, she was the undisputed queen of engineered inconvenience. She'd swan in, usually with her equally messy brood in tow, and somehow, within minutes, managed to turn her section of the dining room into a biohazard. And then, without fail, she'd march up to the counter, a performance of righteous indignation already forming on her face, demanding to speak to a manager. "This is unacceptable," she'd shriek, usually about some microscopic flaw in her burrito or a supposed hair that was definitely her own. Our franchise owner, a good-hearted but easily manipulated man, always caved. Free meal, free dessert, whatever it took to make her vacate the premises. We all hated her. Every shift, the moment her minivan pulled into the lot, a collective groan would ripple through the staff. I swear the sight of her would shave years off our lives. I lasted about a year and a half before I finally snapped, trading my apron for a desk job in the sweet, sweet luxury of not smelling like cilantro all the time. But even then, Karen lingered. Sometimes I'd wonder if she was still terrorizing my old coworkers, still getting her free meals. It was a morbid curiosity, I guess. So about a year after I quit, I found myself back at the old place, just as a regular customer this time. I was craving a barbacoa bowl, feeling a weird sense of nostalgia as I walked through the familiar doors. I ordered, paid, and was just about to snag a table when it happened. The sound of a minivan door slamming, a familiar shrill laugh, and then, marching through the entrance like she owned the place, was Karen. My blood ran cold, then simmered with a strange, dark anticipation. This was it. I was finally going to see her operate from the other side. The line was pretty long, but Karen, of course, paid it no mind. She herded her kids straight to the counter, cutting off a bewildered couple. "We're regulars," she announced, as if that explained everything. The poor kid behind the counter, a fresh-faced new hire I didn't recognize, looked completely flustered. Then came the kicker, "And I'll have the chipotle lime vinaigrette," Karen declared, her voice booming. The kid stammered, "I'm so sorry, ma'am, we're actually all out of that right now. We had a delivery issue this morning." Oh, this was going to be good, I almost audibly snickered. Karen's face began to contort. Out of my sauce, that's ridiculous. This is my favorite sauce." "What kind of establishment runs out of a staple like that?" Her voice was escalating, drawing eyes from around the dining room. She demanded to see the manager, of course. A young woman, probably a shift lead with tired eyes and a forced smile, came out. "Hi ma'am, I apologize. We genuinely ran out this morning and our next delivery isn't until tomorrow. We have plenty of other dressings, though." Karen cut her off, hands on her hips, practically vibrating with fury. "No, I only like that one. This is unacceptable service. I come here all the time and you're telling me you can't even give me what I want. I want a free meal for this inconvenience, and my kids' meals too." The shift lead looked like she was about to cry, and that's when something inside me snapped. All those years of biting my tongue, enduring Karen's tantrums, cleaning up her messes, it all coalesced into a hot, righteous anger. I wasn't an employee anymore. I was just a guy trying to eat his barbacoa bowl in peace. "Hey Karen," I said, my voice cutting through her tirade, surprisingly calm. She paused, her head swiveling towards me, annoyance warring with confusion. "If you hate this place so much and they're always inconveniencing you, why do you keep coming back?" She blinked, surprised, then her eyes narrowed. A flicker of recognition passed over her face and her own fury redoubled. "Excuse me, who do you think you are, speaking to me like that? Do you even work here?" I grinned, a genuinely vindictive smile. "Used to, and I can tell you, Karen, you were, and clearly still are, the single most stressful customer this place has ever had. Every time you walked in, the entire staff braced themselves for your ridiculous complaints. You made our lives miserable, all for a few dollars worth of free food." Her face went beet red. She sputtered, trying to find words, but nothing coherent came out. Other customers were staring, some openly smirking. The shift laid in the other employees behind the counter, though they were silently cheering me on, a couple of them actually stifling giggles. "This is outrageous," she finally managed, clutching her purse. "I'm never coming here again." And then, grabbing her mortified children, she stormed out, her exit far less triumphant than her entrance. A wave of pure, unadulterated satisfaction washed over me. The shift lead rushed over, eyes wide, a huge grin spreading across her face. "Oh my God, thank you, she's been doing this for years." The other employees were nodding, giving me thumbs up. It felt good, really, really good. As I finally sat down with my now slightly cool barbacoa bowl, I couldn't help but smile. It wasn't about being a hero. It was about finally getting that satisfaction, that sense of closure, not as a helpless employee, but as an anonymous customer who just couldn't take it anymore. It was like I'd finally settled an old score, and honestly, the barbacoa had never tasted better.
Got time for one more. This next video is worth it.